The story of acting recklessly in movies and TV dramas with a Krypton metal panel. QQ Group 7069788521. My physical education teacher, I am not the god of medicine, good sir, there are no thieves in the world, 10,000 miles of return, Charlotte's worries, one person's martial arts, rat gallbladder and mighty dragon, bright sword, undercover, cliff, let's get married, 30, Changjin Lake, Watergate Bridge of Changjin Lake, I am you Huanshui, everything is good, 10 years of love, heavenly way, disguiser, infinite terror, fairy ghost. Kung Fu, Fengshen Yanyi, keywords of the novel. Film and television. Starting from my physical education teacher, no pop-ups, film and television. Starting from my physical education teacher, download the complete text, film and television. Starting from my physical education teacher, read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. I am Mark. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. I am Mark. Krypton metal panel. Host. Zhou Qiang. Current recharge balance 0.996 million RMB. Note. For the first soul crossing, it defaults to crossing the male lead and can be crossed in debt. Current character. Mark, male lead in the TV series, My Physical Education Teacher. Power. 12 plus speed. 7 plus spirit. 15 plus, note. Within 20 points, add 1 million, normal adult value is 10. Physical condition. Slight illness. Note. The physical condition is divided into 5 levels. Healthy, sub-healthy, slightly ill, seriously ill, on the brink of death, and the conversion between adjacent levels requires 2 million renminbi. Skills. Beginner level in Changquan, proficient in basketball, proficient in fitness, inexperienced in cooking, inexperienced in stock trading, proficient in photography. Note. Gold can only be increased after the skill is introduced. 1 million beginners proficient, 5 million proficient, 10 million proficient superb. Travel fee standard. Soul crossing male lead. 10 million renminbi. Comes with benefits. Comes with a guide for the female protagonist Halo, with 80% successful guide for the female protagonist. The main male supporting role of soul crossing. 3 million renminbi. Soul crossing. A typical male character costs 1 million renminbi. Note. The probability of the female lead in the general character guide is 0 and cannot be changed. Soul traversing actress. Soul crossing non-human. The body and soul travel together. Body crossing item crossing sensory travel system space rental fee standard. 1 cubic meter, used for 1 day, charged 10,000 yuan. Friendly reminder. The current balance is negative, please recharge as soon as possible. The TV series, My Physical Education Teacher, has ended. Please complete the next time travel based on your recharge balance. If your balance is insufficient, you will bear the consequences. Note. The end of the TV series is marked by the female lead's wedding, or 5 years later in the morning. Civil Affairs Hall. Divorce Registration Office. Mark and T&I are queuing up, waiting to complete the divorce procedures. Zhou Qiang looked absent-mindedly at the Krypton metal panel in front of him. He failed to speculate on the U.S. stock market, was in debt of tens of millions, and shamelessly jumped off a building to commit suicide against his wife, children. He regretted it the moment he jumped downstairs. So, his last sentence before death was, "No. I didn't expect to be able to traverse after death. It's just that this time traveling is not free, it actually costs 10 million renminbi. Before I died, there were still over 40,000 renminbi left on my card, which had been automatically deducted, leaving me with a debt of 9.96 million renminbi as soon as I crossed the line. I am currently Mark, the male lead in a TV drama. This Mark is a bit older than me, but at least he is the male protagonist. The protagonist has a good aura, and some beautiful girls come up on the pole and can't even push them off. This Krypton metal panel seems to cost everything. There are 12 points of strength, indicating that Mark often exercises strength, which is 2 points higher than the average person. The speed is only 7 points, which is a bit low, but Mark is over 40 years old and has put on weight, which is understandable. The spiritual level is actually 15 points. This is much higher than that of ordinary people. It should be due to soul travel, the combination of two souls, and it feels like the brain is much better. Looking back now, it seems to be vividly remembered, whether it's Mark's or Zhou Chang's matter. Strength, speed, spirit, within 20 points, 1 million plus a little, may not seem expensive for wealthy people, but for an ordinary high school physical education teacher, it is too expensive. What does minor illness mean? Is Mark sick? Hiss. I feel uncomfortable in his waist. Is Mark really sick? Isn't he a physical education teacher? Why is there still a problem with his body? From minor illness to sub.health, and then to health, it costs 4 million yuan. Also, the skills seem to be divided into 4 levels. Beginner, proficient, and extraordinary. If you want to earn money to improve, the fee is not cheap. From beginner to extraordinary, it costs 16 million. This is too deceitful, isn't it? However, you don't need to spend money upgrading all skills. The 2 most useful skills in the world are kill and save. All I need to do is deal with these 2 skills. Not right. This is a normal urban life TV drama, doesn't it seem like killing is necessary? You should upgrade your earning skills. Why is my stock trading skills not yet beginner? In my previous life, I was a seasoned stock trader with over a decade of experience in trading stocks. I have gained a lot in the share market, played virtual currency, and even speculated in US stocks. How come I am not beginner? I got it wrong, didn't I just end up losing everything? But I once had everything. The TV drama, Teacher of Physical Education, has a time background that should be before my time travel. It is a time period that I have experienced. If the information about stock trading is roughly the same, there is no need to worry about making money. I have millions of minutes. Anyway, I remember my past memories very clearly. I will check it up soon. There are so many types of time travel. What about body time travel, object time travel, and sensory time travel? Also, how could one soul travel through non-human beings? If the animal is okay, if it's just a plant, or just a cell or virus, then it's a dead end. Mark, it's our turn to go in. At this moment, the voice of the field rang out. She reminded Mark to go in and divorce her. T&I, we can't divorce so hastily, Mark said expressionlessly. What? Didn't you already promise me? T&I said unhappily. She is most afraid that Mark will not agree to divorce. That's right. I promised you. However, before we divorce, we should tell my mom that we still have 2 children, Mark said. Didn't you say, don't you tell them for now? T&I said strangely. She felt that Mark was somewhat inexplicable. When she discussed divorce with Mark before, he strongly opposed telling his family about their divorce. Why has he changed his mind now? My previous thoughts were wrong. Our divorce is not just about the 2 of us, whether it's out of respect or anything else, we should first inform our families before we divorce, Mark said in a deep voice. Previously, Mark did not agree to tell his family because he couldn't let go of the woman in front of him. But the previous Mark has already died, and now Mark is another person, and he is still a person with a system and plans to do whatever he wants. Having watched TV dramas, he knew that the woman in front of him had never liked Mark, and even grew to dislike him more and more. At first, for some unknown reason, this woman did not refuse Mark's pursuit, did not refuse to sleep with Mark, did not refuse to marry Mark, did not refuse to have children, and lived with Mark for 16 years. Although Mark was the school grass at university, this woman is also the school flower. She doesn't like Mark, but she slept with him and got pregnant, living together for so long. What the hell is going on here? At this moment, Mark couldn't figure it out, and he didn't want to think either. He just wanted Laliso to divorce this woman and wait for the little beauty to pounce on him. So he can't divorce in such a vague way, he wants to completely get rid of this woman. Then, change to a woman who truly likes him. But what if they don't agree? Tianai worried. She is afraid that her mother-in-law will not agree, and she is afraid that the two children will not agree. She wants to live for herself, but she cannot completely let go. No way. They are all our family members, and they only want us to be happy. If our marriage makes us feel unhappy, they won't object to our divorce, Mark said. What should we do now? Tianai asked. Now go home, call my mother over and explain everything. Then come get divorced. Don't worry, since I have agreed to divorce, I will definitely do it. Mark cut off the railway. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Divorce. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Divorce Mark's family. I have had lunch at noon. Speak up, what's up? Ling Mingyu asked. She is Mark's mother, a good mother-in-law of the field. She divorced early on, and she is the only one in the family who earns money alone. The conditions are not very good. When Mark married Tianai, she felt wronged, so she always treated Tianai exceptionally well. She was thinking about her birthday in Tianai in a month's time at home today when Mark suddenly called her over and said she had something to discuss with her. Tianai, tell me, Mark said in a deep voice. His expression was very serious, as if something had happened that made him very difficult. Mom, I want to divorce Mark. Tianai hesitated for a moment. What? Divorce? No way. Ling Mingyu exclaimed in surprise. Her first reaction was opposition. She was very satisfied with Tianai and didn't want to lose this daughter-in-law, let alone her own son who was too old to have a daughter-in-law. Ah. Divorce. What kind of marriage is it? Mom and Dad, what's wrong with you? Why are you getting divorced? Mary exclaimed in surprise. Her small face was filled with fear and unease. The divorce of her parents frightened her. Maneo listened quietly on the side, seemingly not quite understanding what divorce is, but he also had a slight unease on his face, looking at the field with some nervousness. Mark, did you make Tianai unhappy? Hurry up, apologize to Tianai. Ling Mingyu said angrily. She knew that her son was not up to par, just a high school physical education teacher, with little success in his life and some not worthy of the field. That's right, Dad. Please apologize to my mom and don't let her divorce, okay? Mary said with a tearful tone. She was completely flustered, helpless, powerless, and at a loss. The changes in her parents filled her with fear. Mom, Lily, I think the divorce has nothing to do with Mark, it's my problem. I was 16 years ago, said Tianai. She expressed her most genuine thoughts. She has been living for Mark, Mary, and Manao for the past 16 years. She has not lived for herself, and she is very unhappy. She wants some of her own time and space. She's almost 40 years old, she wants to live for herself once, she doesn't want to live such a mediocre life. So you haven't been happy all these years? Ling Mingyu looked at the field with some heartache. She didn't know whether to persuade Tianai to divorce or not. Tianai nodded and said, Mom, I know I'm very selfish, but I really don't want to just live like this. I really want to. Want a divorce. Speaking of which, she couldn't help but cry. She is actually very conflicted. She wants her own life and cannot bear to have two children. She was able to let go of Mark, who had lived together for 16 years, and she didn't think there was anything worth cherishing about Mark. Although her youth has been given to Mark, has Mark's youth not been given to this family? Mom, you and my dad divorced. What should Mineo and I do? Mary cried as she asked. She is a sensible child, although a bit aggressive, she still doesn't cry or make a fuss to prevent her parents from getting divorced. She doesn't want her mother to be unhappy. Mary, you're getting old. You and your father, Manoa is still young, and I'll take him with me, Tianai wiped her tears and said. She had already considered the destination for her 2 children. No way. You don't have to worry about the children's affairs, I'll take care of the 2 children, Ling Mingyu hurriedly said. Mom, if you really want to divorce, Manoa and I will be with my grandmother, said Mary. She is very smart and doesn't want to be a burden for her parents to remarry. She even thought that after her parents reorganized their family and had children, they would ignore her and Mineo. Mark, what do you think? Do you agree to divorce Tianai? Ling Mingyu said with resentment. She hopes that Mark can keep Tianai and not divorce, after all, the children are so old, making do for a few years, and everyone is old. What else can we do? The fields can no longer be disturbed. Mom, Lily, I respect Jinye's decision. Tianai has been suffering for me and this family for 16 years. I cannot let her continue to suffer. She has the right to choose divorce. She should have her own life, and she should also live for herself. Mark said in a deep voice. His face looked a bit ugly, as if the divorce was also a heavy blow to him. Of course, divorce was indeed a heavy blow for Mark in the past, but for Mark now, divorce is just the right time to start over. Mom, you're getting old. Let's take care of the child with Mark, said Tianai. She didn't trust leaving her 2 children to Ling Mingyu alone, and she couldn't bear to leave the children behind. No need. Although I'm old, I'm not confused yet. I can take care of my grandchildren, Ling Mingyu frowned. She couldn't bear to part ways with the 2 children. She was actually a bit unhappy about Jinye's sudden proposal for divorce. What's wrong with my son? Why do you look down on him? Okay, after the divorce, let Tianai and the 2 children continue to live in this house. I'll move out. As for taking care of the children, whoever has free time will come. The 2 children should not be separated for now, Mark said. He doesn't plan to let Tianai and Mineo move out like in the TV drama. He is a traveler with the ability to earn money to buy a house, and he doesn't have to borrow money from Xiaoling. The most important thing is that he doesn't want to live with his unfamiliar ex-wife, daughter, and son. He needs time to adapt and adjust. His departure was just enough to avoid some awkwardness. Where do you live? Ling Mingyu quickly asked. I will live in the school dormitory first, and coincidentally, the school gave me a housing quota. I pooled money to buy a house, and soon there was a place to live, Mark said. What kind of school dormitory do you live in? It's not that there are no available rooms at my place. Stay at my place, Ling Mingyu said. She couldn't bear to let her son live in the dormitory at an old age. What would that look like? Mom, I want to stay quietly at school for a while, Mark said in a low mood. He looked at Ling Mingyu and Mary and remembered his parents, wife, and children from the previous life. He committed suicide on impulse, and at this moment, are his family members in great pain. He is very self-blaming, he is too impulsive, and he hopes to travel back one day. Isn't that Krypton metal panel asking for money? Can he get a lot of money and go back? Okay, Ling Mingyu said. She felt a little sorry for her son. She doesn't feel good about the fields anymore. She's already 40 years old, why bother with it? Look at all the trouble my son has done, he has never been so wrong before. Mark, take all the money you have saved at home, said Tianai. She didn't expect Mark to move out, and she didn't expect a divorce. Surprisingly, Mark dared to change the status quo once he was a man. Okay, I'll take the money first, Mark replied. He plans to speculate in stocks, he can't do without capital. Mark, I also have some money with me. I'll give it to you. First, I'll pay the down payment for the house, and let's pay off the mortgage slowly. Ling Mingyu hurriedly said. Okay, Mom, Mark replied. He took the bank card handed over by Tianai and said, Tianai, help me tidy up my gift. Dad, I can't bear to part with you. Mary finally couldn't help but hug Mark and cry. Dad, I can't bear to part with you either. Manoa cried along. Why are you crying? I'm not stopping to see you guys anymore. I'll take you to a big meal tomorrow noon, Mark laughed. Alas, what's going on here? Ling Mingyu said painfully. She watched the children cry, and couldn't help but shed tears along with them. Mark, why don't I move out? Tianai couldn't bear such a scene. No need, don't fuss anymore. It's convenient for me to move out. It's better for you to stay at home. The children can't live without you, Mark said. He just crossed over and doesn't want to stay at home. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Stock Trading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 4. Likes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Likes Lido Holiday Hotel. Zhao Ling drove here quickly. Parking lot. Zhao Ling, you're here. Mark told you about our divorce. Tianai asked. Yeah, Lao Ma told me that he seemed to have completely let go and said he hoped you could find the happiness you wanted, Zhao Ling said with mixed emotions. Really? Thank him then, and I hope he can find happiness, said Tianai expressionlessly. She suddenly felt a little unhappy. Mark let go too quickly. Why? Did Mark want to break up with me a long time ago? Did he have a premeditated plan to agree to divorce so quickly this time? It is said that the three greatest joys for a middle-aged man are promotion, wealth, and the death of his wife. I am asking for a divorce. Is it because he is proud? Tianai, what's wrong with you? Why did you suddenly get divorced? Zhao Ling asked. He actually doesn't quite understand why Mark and Tianai divorced. Because life can't go on anymore, because every day is the same and there is no hope. I wake up in the morning and sleep in the evening. Changing it to good morning and good night doesn't work, Tianai said absent-mindedly. She suddenly felt that the divorce was hasty. Old Ma is like that, his concern is all in his heart, Zhao Ling said. So you care so much about people, why are you still alone? Tianai suddenly asked. I'm different, Zhao Ling said deeply. He had flames brewing in his eyes. Jinya's expression was strange and she said, people are the same until middle age. I don't know what came to her mind. Zhao Ling seems to want to say something, but he hasn't spoken yet. I know, Lao Ma is quite good. As a woman like me, I'm in my 30s and almost 40. It's quite nice to even ask him for a divorce. I already have 2 children, so let's live a good life. But I'm not willing, why should I? I married him since I graduated from college. Since then, I have been the wife and mother of everyone. Why can't I be myself? Jinya's emotions were a bit excited, and it was evident that she was very dissatisfied with Lao Ma. She felt that everything she did was for the sake of others and that she was wronging herself. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have told you this, Tianai said with some embarrassment. I didn't expect to feel so uncomfortable, Zhao Ling said with an unpleasant expression. Do you feel sorry for the old horse? Tianai asked. I feel sorry for myself, Zhao Ling said sorrowfully. I divorced old Ma, why do you feel sorry for yourself? Tianai said strangely. I am the best friend of Lao Ma, but the person who hopes for his divorce the most is me. I am jealous of his life and that he has married a wife like you. But the person who doesn't want to see him divorced the most is also me. Because only when I see you happy can I feel at ease. Just now, I said that I am different from him because I have always been thinking of you in my heart. When I am feeling uncomfortable alone, only when I think of you can I feel at ease. Zhao Ling said affectionately. After he finished speaking, he couldn't help but hug the field. Zhao Ling, no way, you can't let go of me. This is the parking lot, Yanyi struggled quickly. Please, let me hug you. I've been thinking about this hug for 16 years, Zhao Ling said in a low voice. Tianai no longer struggled, she actually had a special feeling for Zhao Ling in her heart. After all, Zhao Ling was the person she truly liked back then. As for Mark, he just slept in a daze. Tianai, I liked you 16 years ago, you know. After a moment, Zhao Lingsong opened Tianai and gazed at her. I don't know, I thought you didn't like me. When we went to school together, I actually had a good impression of you, but Mark chased me and you were indifferent to me, so I thought you didn't like me, said Tianai. Ah, it was because Mark was chasing you back then that I didn't dare to confess to you. I was afraid of hurting Mark, and even more so, I didn't expect it to be like this. I regret it, Zhao Ling said with a sad expression on his face. Tianai shook her head and didn't say anything. She didn't know if she should regret it, but she knew regret was useless. She only wanted to live for herself now. Tianai, Can I pursue you? Zhao Ling said affectionately. Are you pursuing me? Are you not afraid of Mark? Tianai asked with a smile. I'm not afraid, I'll go find old Ma tonight and explain what happened back then. I hope old Ma can understand me, Zhao Ling said urgently. What if old Ma doesn't agree with you chasing me? Tianai asked. It's not acceptable if he doesn't agree. I've already missed one chance, and I don't want to miss the second chance that heaven has given me. No one can stop it, including Lao Ma. Zhao Ling exclaimed excitedly. After he finished speaking, he hugged Tianai again and held her tightly, wanting to be one with her and never separate again. Zhao Ling is actually more affectionate than Mark. Mark likes someone, so he can get married and live a peaceful life without any other thoughts. And when separated, he can also start a new relationship, a new life, and live a down-to-earth life again. He didn't stop getting married for anyone. When he was with the field filled his heart. When he wasn't together, the field and his heart gradually disappeared. After being with Wang Xiaomi, Mark became Wang Xiaomi in his heart. Zhao Ling is different. Zhao Ling likes the fields and has loved them for 16 years. Knowing that Tianai had already married and had children, he couldn't let go of Tianai in his heart. For many years, he has always had a field in his heart and cannot accommodate anyone else. He is the kind of person who finds it difficult to let go once he recognizes it. Even if it's not my own wife, I always keep it in my heart. He carefully hides his love, but in his daily life, he turns that love into care, thoughtful and meticulous care everywhere, appearing like a friend's care, not adding pressure to the other person, and not making them feel uncomfortable. His love is both humble and touching. But this kind of love is probably rare in reality. At night. During the classmate gathering, Zhao Ling did not mention Mark's divorce. Just pushing that Mark and the others are busy and won't come. He ate something absent-mindedly, then checked out and left. Leave Mr. Wang and his group there reminiscing about the past and feeling melancholy about the future. Mark's dormitory. Zhao Ling found this place with wine and vegetables. Zhao Ling, why did you come? Didn't I say I wouldn't let you come? Mark casually said. Mark, I brought some food and drinks. I'll have a drink with you, Zhao Ling said. Let's have a drink then, Mark said casually. Mark, let's drink. Zhao Ling kept clinking glasses and drinking with Mark with a calm face. He has a lot to say, but he knows how to speak. A few bottles of wine are already empty. A few dishes and drinks have been finished, only a little peanuts are left. Two drunken men seem to be talking nonsense. Mark, I have something to tell you. Speak up, I'm listening. Mark, I'll ask you again, can you let go of the fields? Will you remarry her? Let it go, we won't remarry. Mark, I have something to tell you. You tell me, I'm listening. Mark, back then you, me, and T and I. When we went to college together, I already liked T and I, which was what you liked before. I know. What? Do you know? Do you know I like the fields? That's right, I know. Mark, I didn't expect you to know. However, it's okay. Although I like T and I, she's your wife. I've never expressed my love for her, never had any ulterior motives, or done anything wrong to you. It wasn't until you divorced that I spoke up. Mark, you're divorced now, can I pursue T and I? Yes, that's your right, I have no right to interfere. Mark, this is you. You're a man. Really, I thought you would stop me. Zhao Ling, don't mention the past. Mark, come on, let's have a drink together. We won't go home until we're drunk today. Damn it, don't go home until you're drunk. Two drunkards, it seems like they're both drunk, and it seems like neither of them is drunk. They said everything in their hearts. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Sending Rice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 6. Traditional Martial Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Traditional Martial Arts School ends in the afternoon. Office. Old Ma, after work, let's go play cards at Old Lee's house together. Teacher's son invited. I won't go, I have to go to the gym to teach someone later, Mark said casually. You said that when you were a physical education teacher and went to the gym to become a coach, it would be a big loss, teacher's son smiled. Anyway, being idle is also being idle. It's better to earn some money to support the family, Mark laughed. Old Ma, it's not that I'm talking about you. You should find a way to remarry T and I. You're already quite old, and your child is about to go to college. Why get divorced? Teacher's son advised. I don't want to leave either, but I can't cling on and make the fields difficult, do you think so? Mark smiled bitterly. That's right, your family's fields are not ordinary people. It's understandable that they have higher pursuits, said Teacher Sunday. Yeah, everyone has the right to make a new choice. I've been delaying them for 16 years, so it's time to let go, Mark laughed. Old Ma, it's impossible for you to remarry like this. How about I have someone introduce you to someone? Teacher's son whispered. Wait a minute, haven't I just received the housing purchase quota? After I buy the house, you can introduce it to me, Mark laughed. Buying a house. Then why don't you go to the gym and become a coach? It's not easy to buy a house with our high salary, son frowned. At the school gate. Mary saw Zhao Ling coming. Godfather, why are you here? Mary asked. At this moment, she didn't know about Zhao Ling's liking for her mother, nor did she see Zhao Ling hugging her mother. The reason why I can see it in the TV drama is because Zhao Ling sent the fields to her nearby home, and Mary just came over from her grandmother's house to pick up her homework, so I happened to see it. I'm looking for you, do you want tickets for the concert? Zhao Ling took out 2 tickets and smiled. Oh, is it the ticket for the big concert? Of course I want it, Godfather, thank you. Mary said happily. Look, it's in the first row with a signature, how about it? Zhao Ling smiled. Do you want to sign it yourself? Mary quickly asked. Of course it's necessary, how about it, satisfied? Zhao Ling smiled. Satisfied, so satisfied, thank you Godfather. Mary said happily. I've arranged it, can we take a group photo? Zhao Ling continued with a smile. Great, thank you Godfather. I'll treat you to dinner, Mary said happily. Are you treating me to a meal? Let me treat you, Zhao Ling smiled. Why don't you let him treat you to dinner? Mary pointed to Lu Quan behind and smiled. Let me treat you, you are all children. If you have pocket money, you can buy things you like, Zhao Ling smiled. Suddenly, Mary remembered Mark. She hesitated for a moment and said, Godfather, I'm not going to eat anymore. I need to go back to school to do my homework. After she finished speaking, she turned around and walked towards the school. Lily, why are you here? Mark rode out on his bike and asked. Dad, Godfather wants to treat you to dinner. Are you going or not? Mary hurriedly said. The roadside wide walked silently, afraid of being lectured by Mark. I'm going to the gym to become a coach, but I don't mind. You go ahead and follow your godfather to eat something good, Mark laughed. Okay, then. Mary was a bit unhappy. Her father and mother divorced, and her father doesn't even have a place to live now. I don't know if anyone wants his father in the future. Humph, no one wants the best. She grew up and raised her father. Old Ma, let's go first. I'll take care of the house for you, Zhao Ling said. Okay, you guys go. Mark rode his bike and left. Godfather, do you know about my dad and mom's divorce? Mary asked. I see, yesterday afternoon, your dad told me that I stayed with him all night last night, Zhao Ling said. Godfather, do you think anyone else and my dad wants it? Mary said with some concern. Yeah, how could no one want it? Look at your dad, he's so handsome, Zhao Ling smiled. My dad is just a bit handsome, and he doesn't even have a house. How can he find a wife? Mary frowned. The house is easy to handle, I'll help your dad take care of it. We can't let him have nowhere to live, Zhao Ling smiled. But my dad's temper, he definitely won't want your house, Mary said anxiously. Then lend your father money to buy a house and let him repay it slowly, Zhao Ling smiled. That's right, if my dad can't afford it, I'll pay it for him. It's natural for my dad to repay his debt, and he won't refuse. Mary said happily. A gym. Mark didn't exercise his muscles as usual. He walked to an open place and practiced his long fist. He plans to train Changquan from beginner to proficient, even proficient, so that he can save several million. After practicing for a while, a naughty young man came over. Mark finished practicing a routine and stopped. Teacher, you drink water, the gym owner said respectfully. His name is Ding Ming and he was a former student of Mark. Thank you, are you busy? Mark asked. Teacher, why don't you guide the students to exercise and instead practice Changquan? Ding Ming respectfully said with his hands behind his back, like a primary school student. I plan to open a Changquan training class in the future, so I'll familiarize myself with it first, Mark said casually. Changquan training class. Has anyone learned this? Ding Ming frowned. Yes, there must be someone learning. Although these muscle trainers look good now, they can easily break down the body. It's better to practice Changquan, which can not only strengthen the body but also make it flexible. When danger comes, they can dodge flexibly and then run away. Mark laughed. Run away. Teacher, after practicing long fist, can't you beat anyone else? Ding Ming frowned. I can't beat it. Changquan is mainly used to stretch the muscles and bones, and the techniques of hitting people are no longer taught. The remaining routines allow everyone to exercise their muscles and bones, regulate their breath, prevent geriatric diseases, prevent osteoporosis, and rejuvenate their youthful vitality, but they cannot fight. Mark laughed. Can I really rejuvenate my youth and vitality, teacher? I've been feeling overwhelmed in recent years. Am I also practicing Changquan with you? You're tired. How many beautiful men and women are there in this gym? You can stay focused for a while, think less, and exercise more. Teacher, that's settled. If you open a long fist training class, I'll be the first to sign up. Okay, if you can't practice well then, I'll punish you for running laps. When I was in school before, you punished me a lot for running laps, teacher. That's because you didn't practice well. I understand that if it weren't for your strict requirements, I wouldn't have been able to get into college. Being able to get into college is also the result of your hard work, otherwise you wouldn't be able to pass the cultural courses. The main thing is that you have a tight grasp. I have no problem with cultural courses, but I am relatively poor in professional courses. You have been a big help, otherwise I would definitely not be able to go to college. University, many years have passed in a blink of an eye. You have already graduated from university and become my boss. Boss again, I am also your student, Ding Ming said respectfully. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Recharge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Recharge. Return to the dormitory. Mark looked at the US stock market information. He plans to try trading tonight. During the day, he had already completed the procedures when he had time. Memorize the trends of Chinese and American stocks. Which stock has the highest volatility today? Mark's memory of stocks quickly appeared in his mind, and it was clear and vivid. That's the benefit of time travel, right? Even if most people have traveled through time, they cannot remember the information about stocks clearly. I died because of stock trading, so let me remember the detailed information of the stock, which can also be considered as compensation. There are many trading rules in the US stock market, and ordinary newcomers may not be able to understand the specific trading terms, which can easily lead to losses. In no time, Mark completed the transaction. More than double the profit. Not bad, you can earn over $50,000 in one night. This stock trading experience is really enjoyable. However, fund settlement takes time and trading cannot continue. Anyway, I can't sleep. Let's recall the A. shares and Hong Kong stocks. Trading will start tomorrow. A. shares have a limit of up and down, not exceeding 10%, making it difficult to make quick profits. There are no restrictions on Hong Kong and US stocks, making it easier to make money and, of course, more likely to lose money. By the way, there is also virtual currency, which makes it easier to make money and of course, it's also easier to lose money. Let's trade 200,000 renminbi for virtual currency. After a month, it will at least increase 30 times, which is 6 million renminbi. Day by day passed. Mark is busy trading stocks every day, either nervously trading or researching information, recalling specific stock information. He doesn't smile all day, and his brow occasionally furrows. Only after making money do he occasionally smile. Mark's colleagues gradually learned about his divorce. Someone with a particularly good relationship, such as Mr. and Mrs. Sun, would invite Mark to have dinner together, relieve him, and make him feel less uncomfortable. Mark's serious stock trading behavior made them think that Mark had not escaped from his divorce. Those who have bad relationships, especially those who are jealous of Mark's achievement of the housing purchase quota, will have negative rumors, and there will be no one to say anything about it. Mark laughed when he heard it. He is only focused on making good money. At night, he persisted in practicing long fist at the gym. He studied physical education in college, and of course he learned Chongquan. He already had a good foundation and gradually picked up his long fist. The long fist skill on the Krypton metal panel also became proficient in long fist plus, equivalent to earning 1 million. Every time he practices martial arts, there are many people watching and praising him for his increasingly beautiful boxing skills. In a blink of an eye, 1 month later. That night. Mark's school dormitory. He calculated the harvest for a month. The investment of 200,000 renminbi in virtual currency has increased to 7.8 million renminbi. The $50,000 invested in the US stock market has turned into $1 million. I invested over 200,000 renminbi in A. shares, which has turned into over 800,000 renminbi. I invested 600,000 renminbi in the Hong Kong stock market, which turned into 3.8 million renminbi. Virtual currency cannot be used in the short term. The market has already passed, so let's recharge this 7.8 million. It's a good time to try how to recharge the Krypton metal panel. Come out with the Krypton metal panel. As Mark's mind moved, a blue Krypton metal panel resembling a game panel appeared in front of him out of thin air. I want to recharge all 7.8 million renminbi in this virtual currency account. Mark didn't say a word, he just thought to himself. The next moment, the money in Mark's virtual currency account becomes zero. A prompt appeared on his Krypton metal panel. Host recharges 7.8 million renminbi, current recharge balance 21.6 million RMB. Friendly reminder. The current balance is negative, please recharge as soon as possible. Oh, the transaction records of virtual currency have changed. The previous transaction's profit and loss ratio was positive and extremely high. Now the profit and loss ratio of the transaction has become negative 100%, which means losing all 200,000 renminbi. In terms of transaction records. Surprisingly, most of the transaction records are loss records, even the records have automatically changed. That is to say, after recharging 7.8 million renminbi, the disappeared money has been wiped out through reasonable means. So what about other stocks, such as the US stock market, A.share market, and Hong Kong stock market? Is that the same? Krypton metal panel, I need to top up, use a US stock account, top up 2.16 million renminbi. With Mark's thought, his US stock account was less than 300,000 US dollars. There is a new prompt on the Krypton metal panel. Host recharges 2.16 million renminbi, current recharge balance 0, friendly reminder. Current balance is 0, please recharge as soon as possible. Sure enough, the trading records in the US stock market account have also changed, with several losses, and they have been converted at the current exchange rate. The money on the US stock market will not be moved for now. The US stock market is the easiest to make money, and future earnings will mainly rely on the US stock market. Let's set a small goal first, and in the future, earn $2 to $3 million in US stock accounts every month. A share has changed from 200,000 yuan to 800,000 yuan in a month, which is too high a profit-loss ratio. Let's recharge 500,000 yuan. Krypton metal panel, I need to top up and use my A.share account to top up 500,000 renminbi. Host recharges 500,000 renminbi, current recharge balance 500,000 renminbi. The trading record of A.shares has also changed, to a profit of 100,000 yuan, which is not as prominent as before. With a capital of 200,000 yuan, I earned 100,000 yuan in a month, 50% of the profit, which can be considered past. In a month, the Hong Kong stock market has increased from 600,000 renminbi to 3.8 million renminbi. Let's also recharge the Hong Kong stock market. Krypton metal panel, I need to recharge, and my Hong Kong stock account needs to be recharged with 3 million renminbi. Host recharges 3 million renminbi, current recharge balance 3.5 million renminbi. Since I have recharged, let's use it. Physical condition. Slight illness, let's change this for now. Krypton metal panel, I want to change my physical condition from minor illness to sub.health. With that, Mark's idea came to mind. A prompt first appeared on the Krypton metal panel. Ding, host consumption reminder, Mark's physical condition has transformed from mild illness to sub-health, with a consumption of 2 million. Then, the Krypton metal panel was updated. Krypton metal panel. Host. Zhou Qiang. Current recharge balance 1.5 million renminbi. Current character. Mark. Power 12 plus speed 8 plus spirit 15 plus physical condition. Sub-healthy. Skills. Proficient in Chongquan plus, not yet beginner in stock trading. Oh, after my physical condition changed, my speed also changed, from 7 to 8. Previously, Mark's low speed was due to his physical illness, so his speed was lower than that of an average person. Unfortunately, I haven't started trading stocks yet. There is still 1.5 million renminbi left in the recharge balance. Do you want to recharge another 500,000 renminbi to turn your physical condition into health? There is no need to move the US stock account. There are still over 800,000 renminbi in Hong Kong stocks, why not top up 500,000 renminbi here? Krypton metal panel, I need to top up and use my Hong Kong stock account to top up 500,000 renminbi. Mark's mind twitched and a prompt appeared in the next moment. Host recharges 500,000 renminbi, current recharge balance. 2 million renminbi. Krypton metal panel, changing my physical condition from sub.healthy to healthy. Ding, host consumption reminder, physical condition has transformed from sub.health to health, with a consumption of 2 million. Krypton metal panel update. Krypton metal panel. Host. Zhou Qiang. Current recharge balance. 0 yuan. Friendly reminder. Please recharge as soon as possible. Current character. Mark. Power. 12 plus speed. 9 plus spirit. 15 plus physical condition. Healthy, I didn't expect my speed to increase a bit when I was in good health. This is equivalent to adding more points. I don't know if adding some strength and speed directly can also improve the body. This healthy body is indeed different, much more comfortable than before. Thank you all for reading, the sea will cheer. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Dating. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Dating. The next day. In the morning. When Mark was washing up, he noticed that he looked younger in the mirror and seemed to have less fat on his body. Have I become younger? Have I become thinner? Isn't it an illusion? After being physically healthy, does it look young? During morning break exercises. Teacher Ma, how have you been lately? How do you feel like you've become younger and even lost a little weight? Teacher Sun exclaimed in surprise. Really? I've been practicing Chongquan at the gym lately, maybe my spirits have improved, Mark said casually. Can you still become younger by practicing Chongquan? Then I'll give it a try, Teacher Sun said curiously. Okay, I'll teach you when I have time, Mark laughed. Teacher Ma, we are not outsiders either. I'll just say what I have to say. My wife has a friend's sister who is 33 years old. She has been divorced for over a year and has no children. Do you think you want to meet her? Teacher Sun whispered. What? You want me to go on a blind date? I haven't bought this house yet, isn't it a bit inappropriate for a blind date now? Mark frowned. Don't worry about the house. The person we introduced to you has a house and a car. The reason she divorced is because her husband has been living abroad for many years and is separated. His husband has someone else outside, and she doesn't have any problems. She is a capable woman who hopes to find a suitable one to live a stable life, just like you think. Sun said. What's her job? Mark asked casually. I heard they work in finance and have a high annual income, said Teacher Sunday. Let me think about it, Mark frowned. He doesn't know if he should go on a blind date, he's still thinking about the female lead. What else are you considering? You're not young anymore, so hurry up and find another one. That's settled. After work this afternoon, I'll take you on a blind date. Teacher Sun said. He finished speaking and left. Noon. Mary and Mark are eating together in the cafeteria. Since Mark moved into the school dormitory, Mary has been eating with him every noon. His mother's mother Ling Mingyu often delivers food to Mark. Only the Fields have never been here. Dad, you've become younger and thinner, Mary stared at Mark. Really? Just now, Teacher Sun said the same thing. Did I really become younger? Mark smiled. Really? Dad, what have you been doing lately? How do you feel like you're several years younger? Mary smiled. I've been practicing Changjin at the gym lately, maybe because I'm feeling better, I look younger, Mark laughed. Really? I feel like it's not just that you're feeling better, your skin is also better, Mary smiled. I haven't had much lately, my daily routine is regular, and my skin has naturally improved, Mark said casually. Dad, my grandmother asked you to come home for dinner tonight, said Mary. Going home for dinner? No, Teacher Sun has something to do with me and can't go, Mark frowned. What's Mr. Sun asking you for? Mary asked curiously. It's nothing, he's taking me on a blind date, Mark said casually. Blind date? Dad, did you really let go of my mom? Mary exclaimed in surprise. Mary, it's not your dad who let go of your mom, it's your mom who let go of me, Mark said with a bitter smile. But, Dad, you can still fight for it. My mom is still single and we've been together for 16 years. Even if we don't have love, we still have a family relationship, said Mary. She still doesn't want her parents to divorce. Lily, your mother has the right to choose the life she wants and also the right to love others. We can't just focus on ourselves. Alright, let's not say that anymore. Let's eat quickly, Mark frowned. At this moment, Mark's phone rang. He picked up the phone casually. Excuse me, is this Mr. Ma? You have booked a 2-person tour. May I ask if it's possible to refund? Mark frowned and hung up the phone, thinking to himself, I'm going to meet the protagonist. What kind of trick should I use to catch her heart? Dad, what's going on? Mary asked curiously. The 2-person tour I booked 6 months ago is about to depart, Mark frowned. Isn't it non-refundable? Dad, did you book a special ticket? Mary asked. That's right, why don't you go with your grandmother? No, I'm about to take the final exam. You're still a teacher and don't know how to encourage me to study. Forget it, I'll ask later and see if it's possible to return it. Dad, I think you shouldn't give up. You can go relax, maybe you'll still have an affair. Nonsense. No big or small, the more you say, the more outrageous it becomes. Dad, I'm helping you find confidence. When did your dad lose my confidence? I finish work in the afternoon. Office. Wait for others to leave. Teacher Ma, let's go, Teacher Sun smiled. Teacher Sun, can we not go? Mark frowned. What do you think? I've already made an appointment with them, Teacher Sun said. Isn't it a bit uncomfortable for me to go on blind dates at my age? Mark awkwardly said. What's up then? Let's go quickly. By the way, your clothes don't work. Hurry up and change them, said Teacher Sunday. Let's not change the clothes. Hurry up and change. Dressing appropriately not only respects the other person, but also respects oneself. A Western restaurant near the school. This is Mark, my colleague. He is a good person and hardworking. This is Yuan, my younger sister. She has studied abroad, is outgoing, and enjoys sports. You happen to be a physical education teacher, and we have common topics together. After a few pleasantries, Teacher Sun left, leaving only Mark and Yuan. So, what do you want to eat? Mark said awkwardly. I don't feel like eating yet. I heard you're a high school physical education teacher. Are you busy on a regular basis? Yuan asked casually. I'm usually quite busy, right? I work part-time at the gym at night. Part-time at the gym. So you've been exercising all your muscles. Yuan's eyes lit up. Not bad, I've been practicing Changjin lately. I've practiced my muscles before. Changjin. Traditional martial arts, right? Isn't that a lie? Are you talking about cracking down on counterfeits? Traditional martial arts cannot fight, at least traditional martial arts that everyone learns casually cannot fight. Is there any traditional martial arts that can be played? Of course there is, it's just that we don't have regular contact. Is that so? Why doesn't anyone stand up when traditional martial arts are cracked down on? There may be many reasons, but I think there is at least one. What traditional martial arts can truly fight is that they cannot enter the arena. Because shooting is a matter of life and death. Is it true that life and death are divided when making a move? If that's the case, you really can't go to the arena. I think it's true. Can you use your long fist to fight? I can't fight either, it's just about strengthening my body. If it's just about strengthening the body, isn't the effect of traditional martial arts exercises not as good as the scientific training methods we have now? Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. Nowadays, scientific exercise methods have fast effects and are easy to build muscles. In a few months, they can shape the body well. Traditional martial arts cannot compare in this regard. However, traditional martial arts is not about building muscles, it is about improving overall physical fitness. The pursuit of the two is different, right? Really? I think the current scientific exercise methods can achieve all the training goals of traditional martial arts, and the time is also fast. Perhaps. Don't you agree? No, I just have limited knowledge and dare not draw conclusions lightly, Mark frowned. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. On the aircraft. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. On the aircraft. In the evening, as soon as Mark arrived at the dormitory, Teacher Sun called. Hey Mark, what's wrong with you? Why did you talk to someone about traditional martial arts for a long time? Teacher Sun said dissatisfied. It's what she wants to talk about, Mark said casually. She wants to talk, you can also change the topic and talk about something else, said Teacher Sunday. She kept asking, and I just said a few more words, isn't it anything? Mark said. It's nothing. Yuan said you're stubborn, sticking to traditional things and being too conservative in your thinking. Teacher Sun said angrily. Well, that means I'm not compatible with her. She's not interested in me, Mark laughed. He is quite clear about matters between men and women. A woman complains to a man. That means one thing, women don't like men. If something you complain about is tangible. So, there's someone else for the woman. Teacher Sun fell silent for a moment and said, Teacher Ma, my mistake. There was a problem with my arrangement. That Yuan is indeed not suitable for you. She is more fashionable and open-minded than your family. I apologize for my negligence, old Ma. Mark just hung up the phone when another call came in. Hey, Mom, what's up? Mark said. Mark, Mary said you went on a blind date today, how was it? Ling Mingyu quickly asked. Not much. They didn't like me, Mark laughed. Well, there's someone here who feels quite suitable for you, how about one day you, Ling Mingyu said. Mom, wait a moment. I'm going on vacation in a few days, let's talk about it when I come back, Mark said. Okay, when you come back, I'll arrange a blind date for you, Ling Mingyu said. Not long after, Mary also called and asked Mark about the blind date, and Mark had to say it again. Mary also promised to help Mark introduce a partner. On the plane. Mark is reading an introductory book on traditional Chinese medicine. He plans to learn traditional Chinese medicine and improve his skills by spending money after getting started. Medical skills and martial arts, one is life-saving skills, and the other is deadly skills. Both skills are very useful, and Mark plans to spend money to improve them to perfection. Not long. A little beauty hurriedly walked in. She is Wang Xiaomi, she is late. Mark deliberately didn't look up. He was wondering if he wanted to follow the routine of TV dramas and indulge in a game of hard to get, even if he wanted to refuse. Wang Xiaomi arrived late, and many gift racks were already full. Mark didn't bring many gifts, and the luggage rack above his head was still empty. Wang Xiaomi didn't bring a suitcase, he just packed a big bag, and the big bag mouth hasn't been sealed yet. As she was putting her luggage in the rack above Mark's head, Mark said, "Can I help you put it?" "Thank you, no need," Wang Xiaomi refused. She has a good appearance and often receives excuses to approach her. She has become accustomed to refusing and easily doesn't respond to strangers, let alone being an uncle. She is a bit short, making it a bit difficult to put her luggage up, and the large opening of the bag is not sealed. Mark suddenly reached out when he saw her clothes about to fall off. He grabbed the big bag, lifted it up, and put it in the luggage rack. "Oh, it's so close, thank you, uncle," Wang Xiaomi exclaimed in surprise. In a moment, she thought all her clothes were going to fall off. There were close-fitting clothes inside, swimsuits, and so on. If they fell out, the scene wouldn't look good. "You're welcome," Mark smiled slightly. He finished speaking and continued reading, without taking the opportunity to chat with Wang Xiaomi. Wang Xiaomi sat still, glanced at Mark a few times, but didn't speak. After all, it was a public place, so chatting had a bit of a negative impact. Not long after, Mark lowered his head to read and felt a strong odor. A middle-aged man in front of him, dressed in floral clothes and red pants, took off his shoes and socks, and was cutting his toenails. Hey, can you not cut your toenails on the plane? Can you put those shoes on? They taste good." Mark reached out and patted the person's shoulder, frowning. "What's up with you? You said so many people are fine, that's all you have to do." The middle-aged man in red pants said unhappily. "Pay attention to public morality in this public place. Put on your shoes quickly," Mark frowned. "I'm willing to do it, right? Gongda, humph." The middle-aged man in red pants said nonchalantly. After he finished speaking, he continued to cut his toenails and casually threw them around. Mark felt a bit helpless. He didn't have the authority to manage others on the plane. He looked around and wanted to call the flight attendant over. At this point, Wang Xiaomi had already stuffed her nose with paper, but suddenly a nail that had been thrown over her head fell. She couldn't bear it any longer. She threw her nails directly onto the middle-aged man's head in red pants and shouted, "Are you disgusting? You cut your toenails on the plane, put your shoes back on. What's so disgusting about this? Don't you cut your toenails?" Red pants turned around and retorted. "Should you cut your toenails on the plane? Can't you smell what your feet smell like? The air has been smoked black by you," Wang Xiaomi said. She has a somewhat sharp tongue. Usually, children without fathers are more powerful because there is no one to protect them. "Why didn't you say I smoked the plane black?" "Ah, so many things, so many things. You're not cutting your toenails," Red Pants retorted. "You threw your stinky toenail on my head. Do you know that?" Wang Xiaomi sighed. "You're not finished, are you?" "Hey, I said you're a pretty girl. How could you get dirty when you speak? You're so angry, your dad's dead." "Oh, mind your own business," Red Pants scolded. "Your father is just dead. Can you speak? You." Wang Xiaomi was completely angry. A child without a father is most afraid of others saying that. She grabbed a magazine and smashed it at Red Pants' head. "Little ladies, I'll kill you and me." Red Pants turned around and was about to hit Wang Xiaomi. "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Mark reached out and stopped. "It's none of your business." Red Pants pointed at Mark and shouted. He was eager to hit Wang Xiaomi and didn't want to talk to Mark. Mark was not used to the Red Pants. He grabbed their fingertips and casually pulled them, causing them to squat down in pain. Let go quickly, or I'll kill you," said Red Pants angrily. "Your parents haven't taught you before, you can't fight women," Mark said angrily. His words are the original words of Mark in the TV drama. At this moment, the flight attendant heard a commotion coming over. Look at this person, cutting his toenails on the plane, making the air smell bad, and throwing nail covers everywhere. He even threw them on the little girl's head and wanted to hit her. He's so incompetent. Why don't you arrest him and take him to the police station? Mark said. He spoke while strengthening his hands, causing the red pants to ache and plead for mercy. Let go, can't I stop cutting my toenails? Red Pants begged for mercy. Stay honest and be a law-abiding citizen, otherwise there will be people to take care of you. Mark shouted, staring at his Red Pants. Got it, let go, said Red Pants. He suddenly felt that Mark's gaze was a bit scared. It was a look down, very cold, very scary. After Mark let go, he sat down obediently and put on his shoes and socks. The flight attendant looked at the Red Pants and reminded, Sir, please take care of yourself. Red Pants nodded and remained honest, not daring to cause trouble. Taking the wet tissue delivered by the flight attendant and wiping his hands, Mark continued to lower his head to read. Wang Xiaomi looked at Mark with some curiosity. Mark's actions caught her attention. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Wang Xiaomi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Wang Xiaomi. The plane landed, and Mark walked lazily behind. The middle-aged man in red pants had already hurriedly run away, afraid that Mark would continue to trouble him. Wang Xiaomi turned back to look at Mark in front and smiled as he walked over. Uncle, thank you just now. Thank you for what? No need to thank you, Mark said casually. Uncle, are you here alone? Wang Xiaomi asked. Yes, Mark said casually. He didn't say much, nor did he ask why Wang Xiaomi came alone. I'm leaving first, Mark greeted. No one knows each other, and the age difference is quite large, so there is no intention of saying anything more. Wang Xiaomi doesn't have any special impression of Mark at this time. Mark is hesitating. Is he going to play hard to get? Hotels. Mark completed the check-in procedures, entered the room, and asked the waiter to tidy up the things arranged in the room. He didn't go down to change rooms. He's not Mark, he doesn't have much feelings for the fields, and he doesn't have any emotional attachment to the scenery, so there's no need to change rooms. He also likes to live in a big house. Turn on the computer. Mark traded stocks for a while and then went straight to the beach. He swam alone for a while, feeling bored, lying on a bench on the beach sunbathing, and occasionally sipping coconut juice. After a while, looking at Wang Xiaomi walking towards him in the distance, Mark thought to himself, do you want to deliberately leave your wallet and wait for her to come and pick it up? Then, let's pretend to be drunk while eating together and ask Wang Xiaomi to help me undress and clean. Forget it, if it's too deliberate, it won't be interesting. Although Wang Xiaomi is the female lead, there is no need to deliberately pursue her. I'm not just the original Mark, it's not just Wang Xiaomi who sticks up the pole. It won't be long before there will be luxury homes, cars, and so on. When the time comes, find some young models, play for a few years, and have a good time. It's also quite good, and it doesn't necessarily have to be married. Getting married is related to the integration of two families. It's too complicated, really unnecessary, isn't it? Just pay attention to Wang Xiaomi's movements and tell her not to get married so early. Anyway, the longest she can stay is only 5 years, and it will pass in a blink of an eye. It's so good to indulge in life, why insist on hanging from a tree? After understanding, Mark no longer paid attention to Wang Xiaomi. He continued to bask in the sun, comfortably blowing the sea breeze and carefree. Uncle, are you alone? Wang Xiaomi walked over while taking selfies and happened to see Mark, casually asking. Mark responded casually. Uncle, you're here to play, why are you just lying here motionless? Wang Xiaomi sat down on the nearby bench and smiled. I just swam, take a break here, Mark said casually. I'll rest here too, Wang Xiaomi smiled. Mark closed his eyes and said nothing. Uncle, the scenery here is really beautiful. The wind blows comfortably. The sun is also comfortable. Looking at the sea, I feel comfortable everywhere, Wang Xiaomi said happily. Yes, it's really beautiful here. It feels like people relax a lot in one go, Mark smiled. He has been busy paying off his debts since traveling, and now he has paid them off. In the future, I will casually earn tens of millions of RMB every month, making it easy to recharge and enjoy life. The two of them chatted casually for a while, talking about the scenery here and not talking about their own affairs. We met by chance and didn't want to talk about personal matters. It's dinner time. Are you hungry or not? Do you want to eat together? Mark stood up and asked politely. Okay, I happen to be hungry too, Wang Xiaomi smiled. She unexpectedly agreed. She shouldn't have agreed normally. Then let's go, it's my treat, Mark said casually. He didn't deliberately approach Wang Xiaomi, but he also didn't refuse her approach. Hotel restaurant. It's just the meal, there are quite a few people eating. They sat in a corner. Would you like to order a meal, said Mark. No need, uncle, it's your treat. You'd better order it, Wang Xiaomi smiled. Okay, Mark called the waiter over and said, this steak, lobster, tiger spot, and sea cucumber. He ordered exactly what Wang Xiaomi ordered in the TV drama. Uncle, why didn't you order any wine? Wang Xiaomi asked. Alcohol. Do you dare to drink like a girl from every family? Mark said in surprise. Of course I dare to drink, said Wang Xiaomiho. Okay, since you dare to drink, then come to a half-dozen beer bar, Mark said casually. He doesn't like drinking red wine, so beer is just a drink of water. Baijiu needs company, but Wang Xiaomi can't. Uncle, the dishes you ordered are not cheap, Wang Xiaomi whispered. It's okay, we can still afford a meal, Mark laughed. Thank you, uncle. By the way, uncle, may I ask why you came alone? Wang Xiaomi asked. What's so inconvenient about this? I got divorced, and I had planned to come here for a trip before the divorce. I can't return it, so I came alone, Mark said casually. Oh, this way, uncle, my situation is similar to yours. I was heartbroken, that's why I came here alone, said Wang Xiaomi. Let's have a toast together for the sake of being single. Mark said casually. Damn it. Wang Xiaomi said briskly. The two of them ate and drank for a while, becoming somewhat familiar with each other. Girls from all walks of life, don't drink with strangers casually, Mark reminded with a smile. I know, uncle, are you a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner? Wang Xiaomi asked. She remembered that on the plane, Mark was reading traditional Chinese medicine books. Why do you ask that? Uncle, what you were reading on the plane was a medical book, I saw it. You definitely didn't read it carefully. I was reading introductory books on traditional Chinese medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor is it traditional Chinese medicine. I just want to self-study traditional Chinese medicine. Self-study. So skilled. Uncle, can you learn? This is a bit difficult. I'm afraid I won't be able to learn it in the short term. Uncle, I know an old man who used to be a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner in the hospital. Would you like me to introduce him to you? All right, it's convenient for you. Okay, I'll help you ask when I get back. Thank you. Uncle, don't you leave your contact information. Isn't this just a perfunctory gesture for me? Then add WeChat. Okay, uncle. What's your name? Mark. Mark. It seems quite valuable. Yes, but it's outdated now. Uncle, my name is Wang Xiaomi. The name sounds quite nice. Does it sound good? I think my name is too simple. The name is simple and easy to remember. Isn't my name simpler? That's right, my mom's just afraid I can't remember too many strokes, that's why she came up with such a simple name. It's better to keep things simple. If people are simpler, things will become simpler. Uncle, I haven't had enough. Can I have another dozen beers? You gave me half a dozen just now. Don't drink until you've had enough. As a girl, if you drink too much, it's easy to lose out. I'm not afraid. Uncle, are you worried about money? Money is not a problem. You can drink if you want, but let's start with half a dozen. I'm afraid you're really drinking too much. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you for what? There's no need. The two continued to drink beer, half a dozen again. Mark has nothing to do, but Wang Xiaomi is a bit tipsy. Child, you've almost finished drinking. I'll have the waitress help you back to your room to rest. No need, Uncle, I can go back by myself, Wang Xiaomi said as she stood up unsteadily. Waiter, pay the bill. Mark shouted. Excuse me, could you find a waitress to take her back to her room to rest first? Mark pointed to Wang Xiaomi and said. Sure, sir, the waiter replied. Thank you, Uncle. Let's see you tomorrow. Although Wang Xiaomi was a bit tipsy, she was clear-headed. She felt that the uncle in front of her was very reliable and had no intention of taking advantage of her. After buying the order, Mark also returned to his room. He took a break, took a shower, and started trading US stocks. End of this chapter.